Okay, so we're sitting here in a cabin in the woods, and with Fergus the fungus hunter. And Fergus, what have you got in front of you? What's that peculiar looking mushroom you've got?
Well, this is Dryad Saddle. It's best grown up beech trees, sycamore and elm, and it's parasitic, and it eventually eats the tree, and you find them on rotten stumps on the ground. This one grew up a tree that was approximately 15 feet up. Guidelines roughly about 15 feet off the ground, but you can find them on stumps on the ground as well. And they grow in big clusters of roughly like shelves of like 3 or 4 high, sometimes more than that. And best time to pick them is when they're young. You wouldn't really want to try anything that's bigger than this in terms of eating it, because they tend to go rubbery when they're a bit more than this. Its smell is very mealy and sometimes described as like the rind on a watermelon. And on the other side, it has these pores that in the sunlight, when you look into them and move it around, it's like an oscillating picture, because it's like all these straws on end, and you're looking into all these straws, and it's quite sort of quite freaky, and shaped like Starship Enterprise.
What are you going to do with this mushroom now?
I'm going to eat it.
You're going to eat it?
It's absolutely delicious. It's mushroom I've been picking for years and years and years, and it just thrills me when I see it, because it's like, get the frying pan out and get it in there. Okay, so we put a load of butter in the frying pan. So I'm going to slice up this fan like this. Right, so I chop up the mushrooms and straight in the butter. Get them really soaked. So that back on the heat, and what we do is pop in another little piece of butter, let that melt and cook in. Hot, fast flame. Okay, I'm going to strain the excess moisture off. You can see there's a lot built in there. I'm going to pour it into this jug. Okay, there's as much out as you can.
And that's because it can just give you kind of tummy upsets if you don't do that.
It can do, yes.
Yeah, for some people.
Right, the mushrooms are really cooking well now, and I'm going to add some pesto, which is a wild pesto, and some herb salt, which is about 50 different herbs with salt. So a little bit of salt in there, and all that moisture's gone now.
And the pesto basically is blitzed in a food processor with an S-blade, load of nettle tops, a load of wild garlic leaves, and some hairy bittercress. Blitz it with some oil, a light oil, and some parmigiano, and some, I like using native nuts, so things like hazelnuts or walnuts in there. Pesto is not just basil and pine nuts, okay? Pesto is a process.
Alright, we're just sticking the onions, the caramelised onions, in with those well frying mushrooms. Put in a good generous dollop of clotted cream. In fact, turn the heat off when you put the cream in. Turn it off and stir that cream in. Fold it in there into all that lot. Look at that. Look at that. Nice and creamy. Perfect.
Okay, so what we have is scrambled eggs on toast with a bit of cream, some hogweed shoots that have been blanched for about 3 minutes and then sautéed in butter, and then half a lemon squeezed over them, and they allow that to kind of reduce down. Pepper, bit of salt maybe. Then what we have is the Dryad Saddle, the mushroom, which I'm going to try a bit now, which is sautéed with caramelised onions and that's a meal to behold. And with the hogweed shoots, which are basically hedge asparagus and absolutely gourmet, that's good tucker. Good tucker. Thanks, mate.